I said money, broads, foreign cards, against all odds. I just want to get my pay.
Alright, what's going on? We got Dizaster versus Danny Myers. Yo, the energy to that battle was on 100, was on 1,000 and beyond. It's one of the best battles of 2019. Mark my words. So let's get into the battle. Diz versus Danny Myers. Danny Myers, it's a debatable battle. Another one. Danny Myers, he had lines like, "Why trip on apart from body when I'm about to leave body parts?" That was crazy. Being that Dizaster was in the movie Body. Crazy. "Leave Dizaster over the land like Ukashima." That was fire. "I'll stuff an avocado up your mama pussy and make you watch live." Yo, that was fire. Yo, Danny Myers had an explosive round one. Let's get into Diz round one. Diz had lines like, "You already in intensive care, but if I see you with my sixth sense, that's what the consensus there." What's the consensus there? That was fire. That was a whole fire scheme. "If someone dies and you mention one of mine, you putting your whole family on the line. Now who wants to be a millionaire?" Yo, Diz had some fire lines, yo. Not gonna front like he didn't. He had some fire lines. That was fire. He had a line like, "I could still have blood at your door like Passover." You know, like Passover in the Bible. Yo, that was fire. All in all, in round one, they both had solid round ones. For me, I just gotta say, like, yo, Dizaster, he did what he had to do to slightly edge round one to me. But if somebody say Danny Myers got round one, I could see why you would say that, because he had a good round one. But I got Dizaster slightly edging round one. I feel like he just did a little bit more as far as like performance, and I feel like he had more of an impact. But round two, let's get into round two. It's 1-0. It's 1-0 Diz going into round two. Danny Myers is up. He had lines like, "I showed you the difference from being a goat to being a goat herder." That was fire. "Why should I fear skill? I grab scissors and Bashir will be murdered, and I'll do Bashir will." That was a haymaker. Yeah, that whole scheme was fire from Danny Myers. Danny Myers had an explosive round two. I feel like this was his best round. Let's get into some lines from Dizaster. Dizaster had lines like in round two, he had a Nelson effect scheme that was crazy. "The next time you see this footage on the timeline, it won't be the same way you remember it." That was fire. The whole way that Diz put it was crazy. Y'all already know. Y'all seen it. Let's see here. He had lines like, "That's why anybody can book you, Danny, you cheap as Delta." That was fire. That hit. That was witty. "Nobody in my class a match for me like Matilda." Yo, that was fire. Yo, Diz also had a fire second, but I don't feel like it was enough to beat Danny. I don't feel like it was a better round than Danny in the second. So I feel like Danny kind of won that round pretty clear, even though Diz was fire. It was a very close matchup, but I feel like it's 1-1. And we into the third round. Danny Myers had lines like, "How was you a Dizaster when I was born black in America?" Now that line was, yo, that line was cold. It hit hard, and it was real. You know what I'm saying? What us black folks go through, you know, in America is yo, that's a disaster. Period. We getting killed every day by police. That was fire. All right. He had a scheme about Terry, right? And I'm gonna explain it to y'all about somebody named Terry, Danny Myers. And he was saying they killed him at Sunday service. His family stressed burying his figure. He died in front of the Christian church. Something Presbyterian. That was fire. That was a haymaker scheme, yo. Can Dizaster beat me in this pit? No, can do. That was fire. That hit hard as well. Danny Myers is fire. He had a fire third. Let's get into Diz third. Diz third, as y'all saw, I'm just jotting notes and y'all, you know, we just recapping. Y'all already know what it is. Diz had lines like, "Danny, you a GMO tree, cause every mission you embark on give us nothing but seedless fruits." That was fire. That's when we knew you were self-centered. You only centered yourself in a scenic view, and it's feeding you. Dizaster had a lot of fire wordplay. Your Fight Club footage is like the OJ case because it's up in the air whether you did it, whether you ever did it. Yo, that was fire. Yo, Diz had, y'all already seen it. He had an explosive third round. Legendary third round. I feel like he did a little bit more to basically, I feel like he did a little bit more to basically, excuse the camera. I feel like he did, what he had to do, basically to win the battle. I feel like Diz third round when he took off his shirt, he did the whole, I was like, I feel like he outperformed, Danny Myers in the third. And I feel like Danny Myers' third was crazy, but I feel like Diz, just completely just outperformed Danny. Like, he did just enough. And it could go either way, too, because Danny third was fire, and it hit hard. But I prefer Diz third round versus Danny's third round. And I'm looking at this I wasn't like choosing no side in this battle. I felt good because I was like, you know what? I'm not rooting for nobody. I'm just gonna listen to the lyrics, I'm gonna watch, and I'm gonna judge by that. And I think sometimes that's good. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not a fan of like a lot of stuff that Dizaster do, like as far as the antics and all that type of stuff. I'm not really like like a fan of that, but I gotta say he really did do his thing, and I respect it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I respect what Dizaster do as far as his battles, things like that. As far as his professionalism, I respect that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, but you got the antics and the theatrics outside of battle rap that I don't, particularly like. But he definitely did his thing in the ring, and him and Danny Myers definitely turned up for the coaching and for the West. And I'm not from the West, I'm from the East, but I really enjoyed this battle, so salute both of y'all. Dizaster, 2-1 victory. I got Dizaster 2-1 the first and the third. I'm out.